Hello again. So here's one of the spreadsheet parts, I guess, that I'm the most proud of, but also the most ashamed of, somehow. Well then, what you see is the Wikipedia bracket generator, which is very convenient considering that editing Wikipedia brackets can take a long time and you have to choose the right template and you have to make sure the template is edited because there are best of 3 rounds and stuff like that. There's a lot of work going into this. But why not make it automated? And here it is. It's beautiful. It's fully functional and everything. You see all the rounds, all the players, everything is right. But Kuro, wait a minute. Why is this column called DA? Why is this column called DA? Well, let me show you why. And this is why. All of this. All of this. So to walk you through what's happening here, well, let's start from the fact. I'm not gonna show you this formula. They're disgusting. But what's happening here is that first I take the matches from the API that I get from the challenge API. Then I make a list of the matches, including the ones that are missing. What do you mean missing? Well, if you look at the brackets, for example these ones, there is this match, but at the top, Starlight got a bye, so he doesn't have his own match. So what I'm doing is I'm adding this missing match of Starlight, this missing match of Demi, and so on and so forth. So I'm making a list of the matches plus the ones that are missing. So the way I'm doing it is I'm checking, because in the challenge API, in every match has previews, which match the player is coming from. So basically I'm checking if the player is coming from anywhere else or if they just started there, and then I add the missing matches. So I have this here. Then I also summarize the scores, because the way challenge API gives them is just in text. So I summarize the scores to have all of them in one place. Then, this is a part that will be hard to explain on this bracket, but basically what I'm doing is when you have a double elimination bracket, sometimes you have these missing matches here too. There's no match, here's no match, there's some stuff missing here. And so to make it easier and also to fill the bracket, I basically create all those matches to add them later to the list. All of this will be later added. So here, you have the list of matches together with the buys. So now we have the full list of matches. Success! This is the most difficult part. But is it though? Well, we'll find out. Because then we have to find out who played in which match. So we list the player 1 and player 2 in each match and order them in the right way, so they're actually in the right place in the bracket. And then we can make a list of players. All of these codes are players. Those are the players who played in the matches. Those are the rounds in which they played. I just numbered the matches to make it easier for me. This is match 2. This is also match 2. So we know that these two guys will have to be together in a match. I meant in a match. But yes, this is the list of players and also their scores, so we can add this later. So in the next columns, you can see that the matches are actually now properly organized. They are in the right order, in the right place, and that is when we can look up the actual info about the players. That's when we look up all the information about them, which we can find around here, which is looked up through another formula. But yeah, we look up the information of the players, and then we find the right template for the bracket. The way I do it is I count the number of players that are in the bracket, and then based on that I choose the right template. I have another tab here hidden which lists all the templates for the Wikipedia brackets. So that's the source. And then you will think, yeah, just paste everything in place. Yeah, you have the line here. Everything is fine. Well, it's not, because you also need these titles for each round, and also what about the double elimination? It has to be in order. So first, I add all of these titles at the top. So each of these columns adds the correct title at the top to make sure the matches are in the right round. And then I also order each round in like I put each round in its place, because the way it works with double elimination, you have the winners bracket first, loser bracket next, and then grand finals last, which in theory are in winners bracket, but they're also not. So you have to do it this way. That way, like, this way you have everything in order, no matter how many rounds you have. Because this was the biggest difficulty, that like the number of rounds can vary on number of players, depending on number of players. But here we manage that. Then we just have to like put everything together in this glorious formula. You don't want to look at that. We put everything together. But wait, that's not the end. We also have to remove these. See, I put a lot of this here, which is probably completely ugly and useless, and one day I will find a way to not do that. But that was the best way to like get rid of unnecessary spaces, but also leave the ones that we need. So in the last step, we have to get rid of those spaces and just have like the single 3 lines, so we can actually see what's happening. But now, let's change it a bit, just so you can see what it looks like. I'm not gonna show you how, but I'm gonna change the bracket. Shh, this is the secret part. I'm changing the bracket. Okay. Doesn't matter if there's info about the players, because that's not what I'm trying to show. But this is a double elimination bracket. As you can see, there are a few more numbers here. Those minus like the numbers below 0 are those I added myself, and those are the matches that are missing. I added different numbers for each match to know in which place it is, because that's important. As you can see here, this is where I'm adding the matches. Like, I know that like this is the match, this is what match the player is coming from, this is what match the player is coming from. So I'm just basically creating this another match just to have like the players in the right spot. So you have this one match because, as you saw before, this one match happened. It's in its right spot, this is where it is. But these other matches weren't there. So we had to like add them, and that's why we have these below 0 numbers. And once we have all those matches and like where the players are coming from, then we can add all the buys. As you can see, here are the buys, here are those matches that were missing. Now we added them nicely. And if there was another match like that wouldn't be a buy, that would be a proper match and everything. So like the code knows, quote unquote, how to do it. Another thing that I had to do was to cut the matches when necessary, because this is why you have 2 steps here, by the way. Because here I have all the matches together with the buys, all possible matches. But here I'm cutting them. See, there's a lot of cutting here. Because, for example, if you have like 12 player bracket, you have only like half of the first round visible, and the rest is just not necessary because it's all buys, it's all walkovers. So that's why when like, for example, you can see here maybe, I don't know if you can see anything, but if I have, for example, 12 players, I know that I have to cut every second match from the first round just to make the bracket like look decent and not be filled with buys. So this is what's happening here. And then we go through the steps again, and we create another bracket. I hope you enjoyed the short little trip. I'm very proud of this because this took me a long time, like figuring this out. I had help from Phoenix to find out how to do this. I spent days on this, but I am so happy every time I fill another Wikipedia bracket because all of this is already done. I just have to change the link. It's beautiful. It's amazing.